Hey, how you doing? This is Adam Post. Disney is losing a lot of money on the new Lion King movie. They deserve to lose the money because the movie wasn't good. There's also nothing visually interesting about it. It looks like it's a TV presentation of a movie that they did a few years back. The original Lion King was groundbreaking. It was something people never expected. A lot of people say it was a ripoff of a Japanese movie, and they might be right about that. But at least for the American market, Lion King was amazing, although it really did well everywhere. These sequels, these additional versions that they do, if you're gonna do them, they've got to have at least some of the same magic that the original movie did. From Vulture, all the technological wizardry in the world can't save Mufasa the Lion King. But the way I look at it is Disney needs to go back to focusing on the very difficult job of making things that people want to see that are actually well done. This isn't about putting out ideological ideas or pushing an agenda. Snow White, yes, but not Lion King. Lion King is just, this is a poorly done movie because they were painting by numbers and not trying to capture the original magic of the film that they were doing a sequel based on. From Cosmic Book News, Disney's Mufasa bomb signals disaster for Rachel Zegler's Snow White. Now that's an ideological movie where they're trying to rewrite history. That one's really gonna bomb, but if they didn't have these bombs, they wouldn't know they really need to adjust. And from Breitbart, Disney's Mufasa the Lion King opens to a disastrous $35 million. And from Deadline, Sonic the Hedgehog mauling Mufasa. Disney's release of Mufasa the Lion King this weekend is shaping up to be a massive flop of epic proportions. It could also foreshadow the potential failure of Disney's upcoming Snow White movie starring Rachel Zegler. At least to the extent where there's no positive buzz for a movie, it's unusual to see a movie break out and be really successful if no one's even talking about the movie in a positive way. That would be this Mufasa movie. With regards to Snow White has had a lot of negativity, a lot of negative buzz. The odds of Snow White even making its money back, and they've spent an absolute fortune on Snow White, are zero. But at least they can move on and say, okay, we lost this money. Let's never do something this absurd ever again. When you're getting pushback from the people that actually love your brands and love what you do, and they're saying, you know what, we don't like this. We're not enthusiastic about this. We don't think you should do this. That's a big signal to take to say, you know what, we're not going to do this. There's no reason to not rely on and utilize a really successful, dynamic, honest, authentic fan base. Both The Lion King and Snow White are beloved Disney franchises, and both have had a huge backlash against them. The two films have a lot in common, as both are part of beloved franchises. They're remakes of originals that fans grew up with and cherish. And those fans, a lot of them now have their own children and have their own grandchildren. And if you're not going to get parents and grandparents excited about your children's oriented movies, you're not likely to get those people taking them to those movies, especially not more than once. And especially where if you really wanted to see it, you could always see it on the streaming service in a few months after it comes out. And that's if you even want to see it or want your children to see it. Both come from Disney. However, they also share significant backlash. Fan reactions to the trailers have been overwhelmingly negative. And why not do trailers earlier at the concept phase? Get feedback from people. They can do this, and ultimately, that's got to be what they do. I'm sure they will. What better use for AI than to prototype things and get feedback from people who might be or might not be interested in what you're doing? The reaction to the Mufasa the Lion King trailer was so poor that Disney disabled comments, and the backlash so large, it forced the director to respond. Similarly, the Snow White trailer has amassed millions of dislikes. That's just the recent thing on Snow White on Disney's YouTube channel. Disney has even delayed Snow White by a year, reportedly in an attempt to fix the movie by undertaking extensive reshoots. So essentially redoing the movie. Now Mufasa the Lion King is massively underperforming at the box office. So with all the backlash surrounding Mufasa the Lion King, it's looking like another massive flop for Disney. The film reportedly cost over $200 million to produce. Early estimates suggested the movie could open as high as $66 million or more, with the lower end at $45 million. However, Deadline's now reporting that Mufasa is expected to open at just $35 million, even while playing in over 4,000 theaters, which would be a wide opening for a movie, and they should have done better. They add that the film's success hinges on the international audience showing up. However, the foreign audience also isn't showing up. After 3 days, Mufasa has brought in $33 million in foreign grosses. The opening worldwide box office is looking closer to $125 million, a far cry from the estimates of $180 million. And the Snow White backlash is even worse. Disney's Snow White is set to release on March 21st, 2025. They should really cancel it, but they won't cancel it. The film also reportedly has a budget exceeding $200 million. Some people have stated as much as $350 million because they kept reshooting and remaking things, adding in CGI dwarves. When they originally had them running around as special, deformed human creatures prior to that, what a mess. Rachel Zegler's most recent movie, released just a few weeks ago, was a massive flop, earning only $4 million. That is not enough. That movie lost a lot of money. Additionally, Zegler's Hunger Games installment is the lowest grossing entry in the franchise by a significant margin. Fan reaction to Snow White has been even worse than the backlash faced by Mufasa the Lion King. Disney's only hope for Snow White is that the female audience turns out, as they did in large numbers for Barbie and to a lesser extent for Wicked. While the trailer for Wicked has received a significant number of dislikes on YouTube, the likes outnumber the dislikes by more than double. In contrast, the most recent Snow White trailer has dislikes outpacing likes by nearly 30-1. Barbie trailers, on the other hand, garner plenty of likes and hardly any dislikes. Another major difference with Barbie was that it was like a cultural moment, and Barbie was essentially on brand for what Barbie was going to be. They didn't really make any major changes with Barbie and change Barbie's gender or have Barbie doing things that Barbie wouldn't be expected to do. Whether or not you like the storyline, it was a girls' movie, so they made it for girls. That was expected. Snow White is a different story. Even doing a live-action version of an animated classic is controversial inherently. Doesn't mean it won't make money. It doesn't mean customers won't be satisfied with it. It just means they're already taking a risk, so they shouldn't have put in crazy ideological ideas or things like the Queen in Snow White is actually jealous of the beauty of Snow White. The Queen is better looking than Snow White is. That's just pretty much obvious. Additionally, when Warner Brothers released Barbie, they had multiple, all over the place deals with merchandise companies, promotional deals. Barbie was pretty much everywhere. They did an incredible job of rolling that movie out and getting customer awareness about it. There was also a lot of positive buzz around the Barbie movie. There was some criticism about it being woke, but there were a lot of people excited to see the movie, and they did go and see the movie, and they saw it more than once. That's a hit. Rachel Zegler seems to be on the same level as Brie Larson. The Marvels lost Disney $200 million at an absolute minimum when it comes to its target audience, meaning they don't like her and don't show up. And right now, Sonic is the king of Christmas, and that's the way it's going to be. So who's claiming the Christmas crown? Paramount's Sonic the Hedgehog 3, which brings in the fan-favorite character Shadow paired with the fan-favorite actor Keanu Reeves. It's killing it this weekend. Sonic 3 is on track for $70 million this weekend and might just top Sonic 2's $72 million from 2 years ago. Regardless, Paramount's not complaining. That is a great result for a sequel. If it could do anywhere near the numbers that Sonic 2 did, it's going to be a huge financial hit. Also, great job by Paramount to get a movie out and then within 2 years have another major release of a sequel. If Disney had done that and they were just trying to make movies people wanted to see, they would be in a lot better shape. At least their reputation would be in a lot better shape. Ultimately, all these entertainment companies are going to go back to doing this. Social media is dictating the success of a lot of these projects. And from Breitbart, Disney's Mufasa the Lion King opens to a disastrous $35 million. Early projections that could go up or down before Monday show that with Mufasa, Disney has another box office bomb on its hands. After a disastrous 2023, Disney took a deep breath through much of 2024 and then late in the year dropped 2 box office smashes in a row, Moana 2 and Inside Out 2. Moana 2 is doing really, really well. It's not doing the same business as Inside Out 2. But anytime an animated movie does more than $700 million worldwide like Moana 2 is doing, that's really good. They still make tons and tons of money. Inside Out 2 did $1.7 billion worldwide, and that is like legendary. That is the biggest number that the company could ever have hoped for. After those two hits, things were looking up for Disney. But not anymore. Mufasa the Lion King, a prequel to the 1994 animated classic, one of the few animated movies everybody loves, just opened to a catastrophic $35 million. Even more humiliating is the fact that if these numbers hold, Sonic the Hedgehog 3 is set to double that haul with $70 million in its first weekend. Early projections had Mufasa opening to $50 million and Sonic 3 opening to $60 million. And the author hints here that the $50 million projection for Mufasa was a trick to make the prequel look like a hit if it opened anything higher. Studios do the tricks they have to do and the tricks that they want to do. They could just focus on the trick of making good movies that people actually wanted to see. And you would think that the Lion King brand could pull this off, and it could pull it off if the movie was good. Back in 2019, the CGI remake of The Lion King opened to around $200 million, so how could a prequel not succeed? Some people are blaming weak reviews. Mufasa earned a 57% Rotten over at Rotten Tomatoes. But Moana 2 was a monster hit with a slightly better 61% rating. A lot of people are rating Moana 2 not as good as Moana 1. This time there's no political controversy around this Disney movie Mufasa. None. That's not why it failed. And it's not that Disney completely destroyed their brand. The box office successes of Moana 2 and Inside Out 2 prove that the right product can still bring people in, even with Disney associated with it. What it does show is that the Disney brand is no longer what it used to be, bulletproof. Until Disney decided they would push their social agenda, almost anything they did made tons of money. Mufasa reportedly cost around $300 million to make. Snow White is reportedly at $350 million at this point, which in both cases has to be way, way over whatever they intended to spend on those two movies, and they're both going to bomb. Disney can afford to lose some money. What they can't afford to do is not learn lessons about producing things that people want to see and respecting their audiences and respecting their customers. In the meantime, they've got a lot to panic about. Let me know what you think of all this in the comments below. Always love to see your ideas. Please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again soon with another story. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.